Human saves the alien girl from a mechanical trap, and the alien girl says the gears paused for him. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get back to our main character. Ethan Carter was an ordinary man, or so it seemed. Born and raised in a small town, he led a simple life. His days were filled with work at the local mechanic shop and quiet evenings spent at home, tinkering with broken machines or reading books. The town was a place where nothing much happened, and Ethan preferred it that way. His routine was predictable, and he liked it that way. But all of that was about to change in the most unexpected way. It was on a quiet afternoon when Ethan decided to take a walk in the nearby woods, something he did often to clear his mind. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the trees, and the air was cool, crisp, a perfect evening for a stroll. He had no idea that the moment he stepped into the woods, his life would be turned upside down. As he walked, the sound of rustling leaves and distant bird calls filled the air. Suddenly, a strange metallic noise echoed through the trees. Ethan froze. It wasn't the usual sounds of nature he was used to. This was different. The noise grew louder, more distinct. It sounded like gears turning, grinding against each other. Ethan's heart began to race. His curiosity piqued. He moved toward the source of the sound, his instincts telling him something wasn't right. As he got closer, he saw something that made his blood run cold. There, trapped in a complex mechanical contraption, was a woman. But she wasn't like anyone he had ever seen before. She was tall and slender, with skin that shimmered like stardust. Her hair was long, silvery white, and her eyes, those eyes, glowed with an eerie, yet beautiful, blue light. The machine she was trapped in was a series of interlocking gears and metal plates, designed to hold her in place. She struggled, but it was no use. The trap was too intricate, too powerful. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. Without thinking, he rushed toward her, his hands working quickly to assess the situation. The metal was cold and unyielding, but his hands, calloused from years of working with tools, moved with precision. He could feel the pressure of the gears grinding, threatening to snap shut at any moment. But just as his fingers brushed against the final mechanism, something extraordinary happened. The gears froze. For a split second, everything stood still. The sound of grinding metal stopped. Ethan stared in disbelief as the machine, which had seemed unstoppable, now lay dormant. The woman's eyes widened, as if she too could sense the change. She looked at him, a mix of wonder and gratitude in her gaze. "You," she whispered, her voice soft, yet filled with an otherworldly resonance. "The gears paused for you." Ethan's mind raced. What had just happened? How had he stopped the trap? He glanced down at his hands, still hovering over the machine. There was no explanation for it, no logical reason why the gears had ceased moving. Yet, somehow, it felt as if his presence had caused the entire mechanism to stop. The woman's eyes locked onto his, and for the first time in his life, Ethan felt a deep, inexplicable connection with someone, or something, that he couldn't understand. He didn't know it yet, but this moment, this strange encounter, would set him on a path he could never have imagined. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. There I stood, staring at this woman. No, this being, whose presence alone seemed to bend the very rules of nature. Her shimmering skin and glowing eyes were unlike anything I had ever seen before. She wasn't from around here, that much was clear. The quiet hum of the forest around us suddenly felt distant, irrelevant, as if the world itself was holding its breath, waiting for something. "Are you all right?" I finally managed to ask, my voice sounding small and uncertain. She blinked, her glowing eyes softening, as if she was surprised I had spoken at all. I am." Her voice was melodic, with a strange resonance that seemed to vibrate in the air. "But I don't know how to explain what just happened." I shook my head, still trying to make sense of it. "The gears. They just stopped when I touched the machine. How had I done that? Was it a coincidence?" "You don't need to explain anything," I said, more to myself than to her. "We should get you out of here. These gears are still dangerous." I moved to help her, but she held up a hand, stopping me. "No, You don't understand, she said. The gears paused for you. I frowned, trying to process her words. What do you mean? I don't. She looked down at the mechanism around her, as if she was searching for something I couldn't see. Where I come from, we don't have this kind of technology, she explained, gesturing to the trap. But the fact that you were able to stop it, it shouldn't be possible. Her eyes met mine again, and this time, there was an intensity in her gaze. It's as if the machine knew you were the one it needed. That's never happened before. I didn't know what to say. The idea that I had somehow caused this intricate system of gears to freeze was beyond my understanding. Was it just luck? Was there something about me that made the machine react that way? Or was it something more? I'm not from around here, she continued, her voice tinged with a quiet sadness. I'm not even sure I belong here. I've traveled far, from a place you could never imagine. She paused, as if weighing her words carefully. I didn't think I'd ever encounter someone like you. I blinked, trying to wrap my mind around the situation. I'm just a regular guy, a mechanic. I fix things for a living. That's it. She smiled faintly. You may be just a mechanic, but there's something in you, Ethan. Something that connects with this world and mine. The sound of her speaking my name sent a chill down my spine. I hadn't told her my name. I opened my mouth to ask how she knew, but she raised a finger to her lips, silencing me. You don't need to understand right now, she said softly. But you will. All I know is that you're part of something much bigger than you can imagine. And you've already played a part in something that started long before you and I met. I couldn't help but feel a mix of confusion and curiosity. What was she talking about? What did she mean by something bigger? I needed answers, but I knew I wasn't going to get them all at once. Let's get out of here, I said, motioning toward the woods. We can talk more when we're safe. Elena nodded, her eyes still glowing with that strange, otherworldly light. She didn't ask any questions, just followed me as I led her away from the dangerous trap. But deep inside, I could feel that this was only the beginning. Whatever had just happened, whatever connection we had, it wasn't a coincidence. It was just the start of something I could never have prepared for. I didn't know what I was supposed to do next. My head was still spinning from everything that had just happened. Elena, the alien girl, had stopped the trap with just a glance, or at least that's what I thought. It didn't make sense. But the more I thought about it, the more it seemed like she wasn't from this world. I looked at her as we walked through the woods, trying to make sense of the situation. Her glowing eyes scanned the surroundings, as if she could sense things I couldn't. The air around us felt heavier, almost charged, like something was waiting to happen. Where exactly are you from? I asked, unable to hold back my curiosity. She glanced at me, her silver hair swaying in the breeze. Not from anywhere you know, she said softly, her voice still carrying that strange resonance. My home is far from here. Beyond the stars, beyond this galaxy. I come from a place where time doesn't work the way it does here. Where the universe is more than just a collection of planets and stars. I couldn't help but stare at her. So, you're not human. No, she said, her gaze softening. I'm not. I'm in exile. I didn't know how to respond to that. I'd never met anyone like her before, someone who wasn't even from Earth. Why are you here? I finally asked, my voice barely above a whisper. I've been sent to find something, Elena replied. Something very important, something that could change everything. But I wasn't expecting to find it here, in a place like this. I didn't know what to make of her words. She spoke as though she was part of something much bigger than I could ever understand. What is it you're looking for? I pressed. Elena hesitated, as if weighing whether or not to share more. She finally spoke, her voice more serious. It's a device. A piece of technology, an ancient one, older than anything your world knows. And it's here, on this planet, hidden somewhere. I've been searching for it for a long time, but I can't do it alone. I felt a shiver run down my spine. This was way beyond anything I had ever dealt with. Elena wasn't just some lost traveler. She was on a mission that could affect far more than just our planet. What kind of device? I asked, trying to get a clearer picture. It's not just any device, she said, her tone growing more intense. It's a key to unlocking something that could control the very fabric of reality itself. I stopped walking, my mind racing. A key that could control reality? This was starting to sound like something out of a science fiction movie, but I couldn't shake the feeling that Elena was being deadly serious. You're telling me you're looking for a key that can change reality? I asked, my voice a mix of disbelief and awe. Yes, she said, looking me directly in the eyes. And I believe you're a part of this. I believe you're connected to it. I felt my heart skip a beat. What do you mean? The way the gears stopped when you touched them, she said. It wasn't just coincidence. There's something in you, Ethan, something that connects with this key, with the device I'm searching for. I can feel it. I didn't understand. How could I possibly be part of something this huge? I was just a mechanic, a guy who fixed broken machines for a living. But as I looked at Elena, her intense gaze locking onto mine, I knew one thing for sure. Whatever was happening, it was far bigger than anything I could have ever imagined. I didn't know what to think. A key to controlling reality? I had no frame of reference for such a thing. It felt like something out of a dream or a nightmare. But the way Elena spoke, the conviction in her voice, made it clear she wasn't lying. She wasn't making this up. This wasn't some crazy fantasy. She believed every word she was saying. As we walked in silence, I couldn't help but wonder why I was involved in this. Why me? I was just a guy who spent his days fixing old engines and machines. Nothing special about me. Nothing extraordinary. Yet here I was, walking alongside someone who could control machines with a thought. Someone who spoke of ancient devices that could bend the fabric of reality itself. How do you know I'm connected to this? I asked, still trying to make sense of it all. Elena stopped walking for a moment, turning to face me. Her glowing eyes seemed to pierce right through me, as if she could see something I couldn't. Because I can feel it, she said softly, almost whispering. There's something in you, Ethan. Something that resonates with the device I'm searching for. It's in your blood, your energy, your essence. I don't know what it is yet, but I know it's real. I shook my head, trying to process her words. I'm just a mechanic. I'm not some hero or chosen one. I don't have anything special inside me. Elena smiled faintly, almost like she understood how I felt. You don't have to believe it, but the connection is there. You've already shown me that. The gears, the way they stopped when you touched them, it's not a coincidence. It's a sign. A sign? What did that even mean? Was I supposed to be a part of some larger mission, some grand plan? I didn't know. I didn't ask for any of this. So what now? I asked, my voice low. What do we do next? She looked down at the ground for a moment, as if considering her next words carefully. We have to find the device, she said. But it's not going to be easy. There are others out there who are also looking for it. Dangerous people. People who would stop at nothing to get their hands on it. We have to stay ahead of them. My heart skipped a beat. Dangerous people? I hadn't signed up for any of this. What kind of people? I asked, my voice tight. What do they want with this device? Elena's expression hardened, her eyes narrowing slightly. They want to use it to control everything. To shape the universe as they see fit. They don't care about the consequences. They'll destroy anything in their way to get what they want. I could feel the weight of her words, the gravity of the situation sinking in. This was no longer about some mysterious alien artifact. This was about power. Power on a scale I couldn't even comprehend. A power that could change the very nature of reality itself. And now I was involved. What can we do? I asked, my voice shaky. Elena placed a hand on my shoulder, her touch surprisingly warm. We do what we can. We stay one step ahead. We find the device before they do. And we protect it, no matter the cost. The resolve in her voice was undeniable. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but one thing was for sure. I wasn't walking away from this. Not anymore. I didn't know how much longer I could stay calm. Elena's words were still echoing in my head. The device. A key to controlling reality itself. I kept telling myself that this was crazy, that none of this was real. But every time I looked at Elena, I saw something in her eyes, a certainty, a purpose, that told me this was no fantasy. This was real. As we moved through the dense woods, the path ahead seemed to stretch on forever. The trees loomed tall, their shadows casting an eerie glow in the dimming light. It felt like we were being watched, like something was following us, but when I turned to look, nothing was there. Elena didn't seem to notice. She walked with purpose, her gaze never straying from the path. You said there are others looking for the device. How do we know they haven't already found it? I asked, my voice low with concern. Elena glanced over at me, her face serious. They haven't found it yet, she said. But they're getting closer. I can feel it. How do you know that? I asked, a little more sharply than I intended. She turned to face me, her expression unchanging. Because I'm connected to it. I can sense its presence. The closer we get to it, the stronger the connection becomes. I stared at her, trying to wrap my head around the idea. She could sense it. I wasn't sure if that was comforting or terrifying. Do you think we'll find it soon? I asked, suddenly eager for some kind of answer. I don't know, she said softly, her voice almost a whisper. But I hope so. The longer we wait, the more dangerous it becomes. A chill ran down my spine at her words. Dangerous. I couldn't even imagine what kind of danger she was talking about. The device itself, whatever it was, sounded like something no one should ever have access to. So, what happens if they find it before we do? I asked, my voice tight. Alina's eyes locked onto mine, and for a moment, everything around us seemed to fade into the background. If they find it first, she said, her voice barely above a whisper, they'll use it. They'll reshape the universe to their will. They'll destroy anything, or anyone, that gets in their way. They won't care about the consequences. They'll do whatever it takes to control everything. The weight of her words hit me like a punch to the gut. This wasn't just about stopping a group of people from finding some ancient artifact. This was about stopping the very fabric of reality from being torn apart. I had never signed up for anything like this. I was just a guy who fixed things. I wasn't a hero. How do we stop them? I asked, my voice steady despite the fear creeping into my chest. Alina gave me a small, sad smile. We do our best. We keep moving forward. We find the device before they do. And we make sure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. Her words were reassuring, but I couldn't shake the feeling that we were running out of time. Every step we took felt like a step closer to something I didn't fully understand, something that could change everything. Alina kept her pace steady, but I could see the tension in her shoulders, the way she kept scanning the woods, as if she was expecting something to jump out at any moment. I didn't know what she was sensing, but I could tell she was on edge. And I was starting to feel the same way. The woods were growing darker, the trees pressing in on us from all sides. The air felt thick, almost suffocating. We were no longer alone in these woods. Something, or someone, was watching us. And I had no idea if it was a friend or foe. I could feel it now. The weight in the air was thicker than before, as if the very world around us had shifted. Every step we took felt heavier, the silence of the woods stretching out in unnerving ways. Alina had stopped scanning the path ahead, her body tense, her eyes flicking between the shadows as though she could see something I couldn't. I had no idea what was going on, but I could feel it too. We weren't alone. I wasn't sure what it was, but something or someone was out there, watching us, moving just beyond the reach of the trees. We need to keep moving, Alina said, her voice quiet but firm. She started walking faster, and I instinctively followed, not questioning the urgency in her tone. The forest seemed to close in around us, the trees casting long, twisted shadows on the ground. I could hear nothing but the sound of our feet on the leaf-covered earth. Then, I heard something. A rustle. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but it was there. My heart skipped a beat, and I instinctively looked around. Nothing. The sound stopped as suddenly as it had started. Was I imagining things? Alina's sharp gaze met mine. She had heard it too. We're being followed, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Stay close. Her words sent a chill down my spine, and I immediately found myself moving faster, staying right behind her. We couldn't see who or what was following us, but I trusted Alina. She had some kind of sixth sense about these things, and right now, I was completely dependent on it. As we hurried deeper into the woods, I couldn't help but think back to everything she had told me about the device, the key to controlling reality. Was this why we were being followed? Was someone trying to beat us to it? The thought made my stomach tighten. Whoever these people were, they clearly wouldn't stop at anything. I glanced back again, expecting to see something in the shadows. But nothing. Just the dark, silent woods. We pushed on, the path now more difficult to navigate as the trees grew thicker. The air was growing colder, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were running out of time. Alina's steps were quick, purposeful, but I could see the worry in her eyes. She was trying to keep her composure, but even she knew something was off. Suddenly, Alina stopped dead in her tracks. I almost bumped into her as I tried to catch up. Her body was rigid, her eyes scanning the space ahead. She didn't move for several moments, and I felt a cold chill crawl up my spine. Then I heard it. A low hum, like the faint whir of machinery. It was subtle, almost imperceptible at first, but it grew louder, unmistakable. They're here, Alina said, her voice now full of tension. "We need to run." I didn't ask any questions. I just ran, following her through the dense woods, the sound of machinery growing louder by the second. I could feel the ground beneath my feet shifting as if the earth itself was reacting to the presence of whatever was coming. We sprinted, the urgency in Alina's movements only growing. The hum was almost deafening now, and I realized it wasn't just machinery. It was a signal. A beacon. Whoever was following us was closing in fast. My heart pounded in my chest as we pushed ourselves harder, faster. I could feel my breath catching, my legs burning, but there was no stopping now. Alina led the way, never slowing down, never looking back. And I followed. The weight of what we were running toward, and what we were running from, pressing down on me with every step. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, the sound of my breath rushing in my ears. The hum of the machinery was growing louder, almost deafening now. Alina was still ahead of me, leading the way, her movements sharp and decisive. I had no idea where she was taking us, but there was no time to ask questions. We were running from something, someone, and I didn't know if we were going to make it out of this alive. Every step I took felt like I was being pulled deeper into the unknown. The trees seemed to close in around us, their branches twisting and bending in ways that made the forest feel like it was alive, as though it was watching us, waiting for us to make a mistake. Alina was moving so fast now that I could barely keep up. She glanced back at me for a second, her eyes wide with urgency. "Keep up, Ethan. We're almost there." I tried to push myself harder, but my legs were burning and my lungs were on fire. I had never run this hard in my life, but I knew I had no choice. The hum was getting louder still. It was so close now that I could almost feel it vibrating through the ground. Whatever it was following us, and it was coming fast. I didn't know if we could outrun it. My mind was racing, trying to think of a way out of this, but everything was happening too quickly. Then I saw it. Through the trees, just ahead, a clearing. The moonlight shone through the gaps in the branches, casting an eerie glow on the ground. We were getting closer, but just as we were about to reach the edge of the clearing, Alina stopped. She froze, her body tense, her eyes scanning the shadows ahead. I stopped beside her, my breath coming in ragged gasps. "What is it?" I whispered. She didn't answer at first. Then, in a voice barely louder than a whisper, she said, "We've been cornered." I didn't understand. I looked around, trying to see what she saw. But the clearing was empty. There was nothing there, nothing I could see. The hum was almost unbearable now, and it was coming from all directions. I felt like I was trapped in some kind of nightmare. "What do we do?" I asked, my voice tight with panic. Alina turned to me, her expression serious. "Stay calm. Do exactly as I say." Her voice was steady, but I could see the fear behind her eyes. "We need to get to the device before they do. It's our only chance." I nodded, my mind racing. I didn't know how, but somehow, I trusted her. We had to keep moving. "This way," she said, grabbing my arm and pulling me toward a small path leading deeper into the forest. The air was thick now, suffocating. The trees seemed to close in tighter around us as we moved. I had no idea what was following us, but I could feel it getting closer, its presence so overwhelming that I couldn't shake the feeling of being hunted. "Alina, what's happening?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "They found us," she said, her voice barely audible over the hum. "And they're not going to stop until they get what they want." I had no idea who they were, but at that moment, it didn't matter. We were on the edge of something much bigger than either of us could understand. And if we didn't find the device, I feared the world would be changed forever. I could feel the tension in the air, thick and suffocating as we moved deeper into the woods. Alina pulled me along, her pace unwavering, as the sounds of the machinery grew louder with every passing second. I could hear the hum vibrating through the ground, almost as if the forest itself was reacting to it, closing in around us. "Stay close." Alina's voice was sharp, urgent, and I followed her without question, my mind racing with 100 thoughts, none of them making any sense. We were being hunted, but who exactly was hunting us? And why? I couldn't shake the feeling that we were running out of time. Every moment felt like it could be our last. "Where are we going?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper as we pushed through the thick brush. Alina didn't answer right away. She seemed to be listening, her eyes darting back and forth as though she could hear something I couldn't. Finally, she spoke. "There's an old ruin not far from here. It's where we need to go. A ruin. I repeated, confused. What does that have to do with anything? It's where the device is hidden, she said, her voice steady but filled with urgency. If we can get there before they do, we might still have a chance. I had no idea what kind of ruin she was talking about, but I didn't question her. I just followed, my mind still struggling to comprehend everything she had said. We were after some kind of device, a key to controlling reality, and somehow, I was involved in all of this. But now wasn't the time to ask questions. We had to get to the ruin. The hum of the machinery was almost deafening now, vibrating through my bones. It felt like the world itself was shifting, reacting to whatever was following us. I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck standing up as I looked around, expecting to see something, or someone, emerge from the shadows at any moment. But the woods remained still, eerily quiet, except for the hum that seemed to be getting closer. Elina moved faster, her steps quick and sure, as if she knew exactly where she was going. We were getting closer. To the ruin, I could feel it, but the sense of being watched only grew stronger. Every rustling leaf, every snap of a twig, felt like it could be the sound of something coming for us. We were almost there when Elina stopped suddenly. She turned to me, her face pale but determined. We have to move quickly. Once they're on us, there won't be a way out. I nodded, barely able to breathe, my heart hammering in my chest. We were so close. The ruin was just ahead, barely visible through the trees, but the sound of the machinery was nearly upon us. Without another word, Elina pushed forward, and I followed her, my legs aching, my mind in overdrive. We reached the ruin, a crumbling structure half swallowed by the forest, its stone walls covered in vines and moss. It looked ancient, like something out of a history book, and yet it felt alive, like it had a purpose, a reason for being here. Elina led me to the center of the ruin, where the ground seemed to shift beneath our feet. The humming noise was now almost unbearable, coming from somewhere deep within the earth itself. It's here, she whispered, her eyes scanning the area. It has to be. I didn't know what she was looking for, but I knew we had no time left. The hum was almost deafening now, and I could feel it vibrating through my bones. Something was about to happen, something that could change everything. And we were right in the middle of it. I could feel the ground beneath me trembling as we stood in the center of the ruin. The humming noise had grown louder, vibrating through the stones of the structure itself. It was almost like the earth was alive, reacting to something that was about to happen. I looked at Elina, who was crouched down, her hands hovering over the ground, her eyes closed in concentration. She was searching for something, something I couldn't see, but I could feel it too, like a magnetic pull in the air. "What are you looking for?" I asked, my voice low, barely above a whisper. She didn't answer immediately, her focus unbroken. The hum was deafening now, almost overwhelming, and I could feel my heart racing as the ground beneath my feet seemed to shift with a strange energy. "It's here," Elina said. Finally, her voice tight with both relief and fear. "It's hidden beneath us, inside the stone." She stood up quickly, her eyes scanning the area once more. The air around us seemed to thicken as if the ruin itself was holding its breath. "We have to be quick," she added, her voice low and urgent. "If they catch up to us now, it'll be too late." My mind was spinning. We were so close, yet the threat of the unknown hung over us like a storm cloud. I looked around the ruin, trying to make sense of what Elina was seeing. The stone walls were cracked and weathered, and there were faint markings etched into the surface, ones that seemed to pulse with an energy I couldn't understand. I could feel the weight of the moment, like we were on the edge of something monumental. Elina crouched down again, her hands tracing the markings on the stone floor, and I could see her eyes flicker with understanding. "It's a puzzle," she said, her voice steady. "A lock. I have to find the key." She began to press the stones, one by one, her movements quick and deliberate. The hum was growing louder, and I could feel the tension building in the air. "What kind of key?" I asked, my voice trembling slightly with nerves. "It's not a physical key," she said without looking up. "It's energy. The device we're looking for can only be activated with the right energy, the right connection." "So what does that mean?" I asked, trying to understand. "It means," she said, her voice barely a whisper, "that you're the key." My stomach lurched, and I took a step back, my mind reeling. "What do you mean? How can I?" But before I could finish, Elina turned to face me, her eyes filled with an urgency I had never seen before. "You felt it, haven't you?" she asked, her voice calm but intense. "The way the gears stopped when you touched them. The way the energy shifted when you were near. You have a connection to the device. It's inside you." I could feel the blood drain from my face as the weight of her words hit me. I wasn't just caught up in this by accident. I was a part of it, somehow. "But I don't understand," I said, my voice shaky. "How can I be the key?" Elena's gaze softened, and she placed a hand on my shoulder. "You don't have to understand everything right now," she said gently. "All you have to do is trust me. Trust that you're a part of something much bigger than yourself." I didn't know what to say. My mind was overwhelmed with questions, but one thing was clear. I couldn't back out now. The device, the key, was waiting for us, and it was somehow tied to me. And now, I had to unlock it somehow. As I stood there, my heart pounding in my chest, I felt something stir deep inside me, a strange energy beginning to build. Something was about to happen, something I couldn't control, and it was both terrifying and exhilarating at the same time.